What does great sex mean to you?
What? Sorry? Sorry, I don't have time for this.
Are you satisfied with your sex life?
You want me to answer this on camera? No, cut.
What does great sex mean to you?
Not much these days.
I mean,
Dude, come on, my mom watches everything I do. What are you doing?
यार यहाँ खाने का टाइम नहीं है तुमको सेक्स की पड़ी है.
Are you comfortable talking about your sex life?
No. You see, this is the problem. For people living in the land of Kama Sutra, talking about sex shouldn't be so hard. I mean, you do it, I do it, our guests do it. And as Ella Fitzgerald once rightfully said, the birds, the bees, and the educated fleas do it. So why do we shy away from talking about sex? Sex. Sex is just sex. According to Durex's 2024 Global Sex Survey, 53% of people said sex is a private matter and should not be talked about openly. That's basically 1 in every 2 Indians. And that's half my crew. I mean, take this podcast for example. We are so many people, but only a few agreed to come and speak about the topic, and I completely understand why. And to those who agreed, I couldn't be more grateful. The irony is not lost on me. A podcast trying to normalize conversations around sex fails to get guests because they had a problem. But nevertheless, I'm here still, hopeful that we will continue my quest of talking about sex in every episode with 2 of my brave guests, where we will discuss all things sex. So let's end good sex, because sex is meant to be great, and it all starts with talking about it in the open. I hope this podcast gives you guys the tools to use your tools better. Welcome to the Durex Podcast. Today's episode is Let's End Good Sex After Marriage. Now, this is an interesting episode for me because I'm not married, but I have been in long-term relationships, lived in relationships, which I kind of think is close enough, and it has its own set of challenges. I'm really interested to speak to my guests because both of them are happily married. Veerdas and Kalki. Kekla? Can I say Kekla?
Yes, you can, Abhay Deol.
I just think it's ironic that I'm on a podcast that talks about sex openly, given that comedians basically get into comedy because nobody wants to have sex with them. It's not like, so it's kind of ironic that a comedian is here. But anyway, yeah.
But did the comedy help you get sex then?
No, Ray, I've never laughed a woman into bed, and I've never laughed a woman out of bed, thankfully, either. So
But
it's
they
not.
do
But why does comedy and sex go like so well together, do you think?
Comedy and rejection goes very well. that's
what it is.
Yeah, it's
Right.
when
The lack
people-
of sex, maybe.
Enough people say no, you're like, a microphone will accept me, and then you can, the pitch is, at least what comedians try and do with our respective others, male or female, is kind of say that the 6-pack will fade, and the hair will go, and the wrinkles will show up, and the health will go up and down. I'm funny now, and I'll only get funnier. You know what I mean? So if that's my main quality for you, at least that will stay. Is, inshallah, the pitch.
Well, actually, that's a good way to bring me to my first topic under this, which is boredom. They say that when you're in a long-term relationship, marriage, you know the person really well. Now, years have gone by, you know everything about each other. Is there more effort in kind of keeping that spark alive, as people say, in discovering each other, still being spontaneous, you know, in the context of sex and maybe other things too?
At everything, there are times where you get bored in long-term relationships, for sure. Yeah. But I've been in one-night stands that have been boring. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I've been there, been like, come on, let's get, you know, I have a 7 a.m. call time. This didn't go quite as I imagined. So, you know, but boredom is part of life. And sometimes actually the most creative jumps happen during boredom, right? We know this as artists.
Yeah.
So I think it's the same in a relationship. It's also times where you like readjust, rework, try to figure out what the problem is, communicate more, and then, you know, something new comes from it.
Aren't we like in a society that puts too much pressure on never being bored, never being sad? Like, as you said, isn't boredom crucial in some ways?
Well, marriage is kind of protection from that expectation as well. You know what I mean? Like, if anything, marriage is a space where you get to say, yeah, I am bored right now. You know, and you get to not care about what society says. And I think at least in terms of passion, there's like a nice breathtaking honesty that comes with marriage. You know, where you could both be having a cranky 10 days and nothing has happened and work has not gone well, and you can kind of look at each other and be like, I think we need to have sex. You know, you know what I mean? Just and it's just open and kind of nice, and definitely at some point Shivani's like, you need to get laid, you know, and it's going to happen this week because I think we're both just having a shit week.
But isn't that also romantic?
It's very romantic to acknowledge the boredom and fix it because you're so open with each other.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. When you're married, you do fart in front of each other. At least I do, you know. But at the same time, that comfort doesn't become, at least if it's a successful relationship, doesn't become complacent. Like you feel comfortable enough to talk about the fact that, hey, what's going on?
Being bored is okay. Being complacent is not, so to speak.
It's a good distinction.
Is there anything y'all can share that maybe y'all discovered after the lull came in?
Comedians travel a lot. So I'm on the road, 7 months a year. So this time apart from each other, this time to miss each other and all of that stuff. If you can maintain with the other person that they feel needed, you know, whether they are accessed or not. If you can just maintain that thing of, I need you, I miss you. And that can happen whether you're apart from each other or not. I think if I'm going to fight for one thing to be kept alive, it's just that feeling.
I guess coming from an opposite, which is, I've always been used to traveling and moving like you, but since I had a kid, we were we had a kid in lockdown. We were like in each other's space all the time. It was routine, it was lack of sleep, it was so many things. At that time, it really does help to like schedule, you know, a date, schedule like just renting a hotel room for a night and taking your grandparents taking care of the kid or whatever. Like those things are also really like a way to just be like, oh, and yes, I mean, now we're back to that routine of traveling and missing each other. That really does help to miss each other and need each other. But I think that a lot of couples also don't have this daily life of never leaving each other and always being in each other's daily routine. So you feel like you're spending a lot of time together, but it's just like, oh, have you done this? Have you finished the groceries? Oh, did you get that? Did this get sorted? You know, it's all those kitsch things. So sometimes you do have to like lift yourself out of that, put yourself in a different context.
But you're constantly in each other's space also doesn't work as much as traveling and not be, that can give an opportunity to miss the other. But one other thing you touched upon that I find interesting is you had a kid. Like, so
that happened.
Yes, that happened.
That's part of sex.
So you've had sex at least once. We know
those
this.
are the consequences of having sex.
See, you should have Durex at that time. Or maybe not. But how did that impact, so to speak? You know, as they say, you know, one is long-term being with somebody and then trying to keep that spark alive. Another, a lot of people talk about is sex after having children and all the challenges that come along with it. What have you learned after having the child? How have you all grown or not grown? What have you discovered? You know,
and how detailed do I need to, should I get? Because like if I go back to when I just had Sappho and I had a natural birth. So I tore. So I was like, I took a long time to recover from that, you know, physically. And it's crazy that we don't talk about this and nobody prepares you for this. Like, I feel like it's like if you have a broken arm. Let's say you fall off a scooter and you break your arm. So there is a natural time of like putting that arm in a cast, letting it heal. And even after it's healed, you're going to have to do a rehab for the hand, for the muscles to come back. And there's a psychological thing, can I get back on a scooter? I'm a bit nervous about getting back on a scooter. So you know, it's literally like that with your body. It's like a gruesome healing process. And during that time, you know, I remember feeling really unsexy. Like I had like leaky boobs. I had ants in my bed from the milk, you know. There was I was like, you do what you need to do behind a shower curtain. You look exactly the same. And look at me, you know. So there was all this bitterness and
but is it also, as they say, sorry to cut you off, another thing I want to add to what you were saying is the depression that apparently women can possibly get.
Postpartum depression.
So sorry, go on.
This is all part of it. There's a hormonal shift. You don't get your periods for the first 6 months. So your body is basically saying, we're not reproducing. You're here to like make sure this baby survives and nothing else, you know? And both of you are like also doing so much, you're not sleeping and all of that. It's a tough time. And I think even if it wasn't like the actual act of sex, just the act of like doing things for each other, making a meal, going out, these were really important. And also relaxing, like having a beer, like just letting go. I think all of that was such an important part, and it can't be rushed. And the more you think about it, obviously the pressure builds up and all of that. So I remember that process being really, really, taking a long time. But once we got back to it, there was like a new kind of excitement because I was so much more relaxed in my body. I had gone through so much. And also you realize how much your body can get like coming back into shape. Like you think, I can never come back from this. And you do. And you're like, oh, okay. It's a really like, it gives you a boost that I can go through so much and still like heal from it and come back. And it psychologically really like changes the way you become as a couple, I feel.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So there's a comedian I like. His name is Mike Birbiglia, and he has this show about having a child, and about how he, when his wife and daughter were together, it's this innate kind of beautiful biological connection, And he said he's never felt lesser. As a human being, not even just as a man, as a human being, because he wasn't part of that innate biological connection. They become each other's world, and he has a great routine about how he really struggled to fit back into this, what felt like a two-person world. And I was just wondering if that's true or not.
Hell yeah, Guy went through a really rough time because firstly, I was like her, because of the lockdown, I wasn't working, I wasn't going out. I was her full universe, and I was breastfeeding the whole time. So I was really like there for every need. And she didn't see him as a need, like she didn't see him on a need basis. And as she grew up, at the beginning, she was like, "Go away! I don't want you." She was mean to him, and he was like, "I don't have a bond with her," and this is, all of this. And now, what I'm noticing, since I've been going out and traveling and working, and she's needed to depend on him, he's become mama in a way when I'm not there, right? He has to be mama and papa. I have to be mama and papa when one of us is gone. So when he's doing that role, I see that he fulfills something that I couldn't, which was this like really boisterous energy that he hangs her upside down, flings her on the bed, this very like, and she gets some kind of high from that. And now when he leaves, like he's not here at the moment, I have to do that. And I'm like, oh my God, this is my daily deadlift, 15 kgs. I got to throw her on the bed. And she really needs that as well, So he fulfilled that part, and I fulfilled the hugging, the need, like the loving, cuddling. That's what she wants with her mother,
And you all were together for 5 years before you all...
No, 2 years before we had a baby.
2 years no, as in you were seeing each other, let's say 5 and 7?
No, 7 altogether.
Altogether.
So 5 of that has been parenting. And only 2 years. So it's been pretty quick.
Yeah, well actually...
Didn't waste much time.
Which actually brings me to another point, and I want to ask you this. Were you together with your wife before you became
a long time? Yeah, so we, 2008 to 2014, so that is 6 years.
Okay.
And then we've been married since 2014, so that's 10 years.
So does it change when you've been with the person for a few years and then you...
Before marriage is, I'll do a good job, please don't go. Sex. And like after marriage is, now we're both here. Sex. You know what I mean? Now we're not going anywhere. Sex. Like I'll tell you a story. And I think many people who've had like the fairas and a wedding and all can relate to this. There's a large percentage of couples who have been together a long time and love marriages who don't have sex on their wedding night. Because a wedding is a fucking exhausting experience.
Imagine,
it's about other people, and nobody's eaten, and you're tired, and the outfit is 49 kilos of gold on the girl, and etc. So, but then at some point on your wedding night, you're like, we should. I feel like it's important to do this, whether we're tired or whether we're not. And I think that perfectly encapsulates marital sex, where it's like, we're here now, and it's important that you feel pleasured. We should. So what do you like? What can I do? What can we do better? So it's not just about the having of the sex, which is pre-marriage. Now it's about having good sex post-marriage, because it's important for you.
But it feels like a lot of pressure, though.
I don't think so. I think
No?
in the construct of a marriage, you can have, like she said, an open conversation which says, "What do you like?"
It's actually so much more honest.
Yeah, what
You're
gets
just like,
you there?
a little bit more to the left, please. It's very specific.
It's that conversation.
It is. It's those conversations. What lube you prefer? I mean, those things are important.
Yeah.
Because it's even
You
if we
look
have,
disgusted. You're like,
I'm
what?
not disgusted, yeah. A good lube is always good for me.
but the point is, you also like. It's nice to have somebody who knows what you want, and I can't have sex with a new person. Are you nuts? And explain to them what I like and what my things are and what their things are.
My thing is like, I can't share my childhood traumas with anybody else. I'm done with that. Like, I have this person now who knows everything about me.
Yeah, like to relive that, go over that all over again. It's like, nah, can't be bothered.
And in marital sex, then you know and she know, okay, that move at that moment in time and say that thing at that moment in time, and we'll get there.
But while you were talking, what I was thinking of was also of those people who have arranged marriages, for example.
Yeah.
The pressure of performing on the first night of being married and you've never had sex, or maybe you're not a virgin, but you don't know this person.
Yeah.
That feels a little.
I feel like that's unhealthy pressure for an arranged marriage, but I mean, I'm maybe old-fashioned or whatever, but I think there's something inherently beautiful to the journey of an arranged marriage.
Yeah.
When it works out. It's like an Uber ride, arranged marriage. It's like destination is selected, drive is on, you're just in the back pushing buttons. Like, what does this button do? And who gets to say they fell in love after they got married?
I think that whether it's a love marriage or an arranged marriage, time is a real leveler.
Yeah.
I think if you've been through enough ups and downs, you're like, okay, let them come. We've been through them. And the first time you have a down, you're like, I don't know if I'll get through this. I don't know if we'll make it, But the second or the third or the fourth time you have a down, you're like, we got through this before.
Yeah.
And, we know we have the tools and it gets easier. You know?
But only, like, I have 2 sets of friends who are arranged marriage and kind of short courtships and not real love before the arranged marriage. Mm-hmm. It's really weird to see a couple 7 years into marriage who can't keep their hands off of each other. It's really something really
That's
sweet
so
and cute
sweet.
about that because they like just fell in love.
Yeah.
They have 2 kids.
Yeah.
But they like just fell in love and now are sneaking off to closets to bang, etc. etc. There's something very charming to that as well.
Okay, so I have a question for both of you guys. What does let's end good sex even mean to you? I think the insinuation being going from good to great. Like, so what does that even mean to you? Like, it shouldn't be good sex, it should be great sex. Like, what does that even mean?
A lot
to
of
you?
pressure.
Yeah.
A lot of expectation.
From my severely limited experience with sex, as a comedian coming from rejection, I've learned 3 things. Make her feel as needed after the sex is done as you were while you were trying to get the sex. Number 2, if what you're doing is working, keep doing what you're doing. Like, the thing with guys is, if you pay us a really good compliment during sex, we lose our fucking mind, right? And then so it's like drumming, right? If you were going like tit-tit-tat, 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 and she's like, oh my God, that's amazing. Don't be like, right? That's the wrong thing. Just keep going tit-tit-tat, and because you're doing something right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Consistency goes a long way.
Right, there you go. And ask questions. Before, after, however you want to this thing, but like, get to know this person.
Yeah.
So to me, that's great sex.
I think that what makes sex great is when you don't even realize you're humming in the kitchen later.
Yeah.
Or, you get up at 5 a.m. to reach a podcast and you're like, nothing can spoil my day. That's great sex.
But a subtle way. There's nothing worse than a guy who's had sex last night who's like, hey, what's up, guys? Like, top of the morning. Like,
it's something that I find really annoying is when they keep saying, oh, you must keep the spark alive. You must keep the spark alive. Like, is that a cliche? Like, is that something that annoys you as it does me?
I don't think you need to equate the spark with the having of the sex. Like, there's something nice about, like, once in a while, as a man, if your woman looks good, and she's in the living room or something like that, just say it. You know what I mean? Like, go up, grab her ass, and be like, "God damn it, you look good today." You know, and whether that results in sex or not, that is a spark. You know,
Yeah.
that in itself, the paying
Yeah.
of compliments, sometimes making out, which doesn't lead to sex.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like that shit's pretty.
Yeah,
Don't
that's
underestimate
point.
that stuff.
Yeah, how do you define
like,
spark?
yeah, because you could be doing the most mundane act like putting the dishes in the dishwasher, and you know, if your partner just runs his finger down your neck or something. I mean,
Yeah,
it's those
there's a
things,
spark
those little
right
moments
there.
that actually
nicely
remind you that, oh yeah,
The spark is still
there's
alive.
something there.
Yeah.
And give you a better shot at having sex, by the way. If you
Yeah.
keep doing that, you will probably have a healthier sex life over
Yeah, over
the long
years.
time. you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. And do you think stuff like Valentine's Day and all
Oh, fuck
put
that.
more
Sorry.
pressure?
I didn't mean to.
No, please
That's
go
a
for
corporate
it.
holiday to me.
It is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
I
is,
don't.
yeah.
Yeah.
I made the mistake once of. We went and got a room on Valentine's Day at one of these places that has like chalets or something like that. And I just remember being in the lobby with like a lot of other couples. Like we're all just not making eye contact with each other because
Like
we all.
banter reclamation.
Yeah, we all felt kind of shady. You know what I mean? Like, so I was like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not doing this again.
Wow.
Yeah, no?
So, Valentine's Day was important to us when we were long distancing.
Yeah.
Because we
Yeah.
used to like send each other these letters through the post.
Oh,
like some
cute.
special, like I made this poem with like
Yeah.
drawings and all, sent it over. And,
Yeah.
he sent, so like that kind of exchange was important for us. But now, of course, like now that we live together, we don't do any of that stuff. And I
Yeah.
do think it's very much like a corporate.
Just a corporate
made
made up
buy
holiday.
shit.
As a single man or as a unmarried man, do you have to do the Valentine's Day thing? Is it important in your...
I've always been one who doesn't adhere to these,
Yeah.
festivals, and I feel like they are made up by corporations, I'm like, honey, every day is Valentine's Day, like, why do we have to have one day for it? And I think for me, the spontaneity comes from one day just making it special because you feel like it,
Yeah.
not because some, calendar told
Yeah.
you to do so.
It also adds to your loneliness when you are not with somebody, That was a big part of it. And I think a
Right?
lot of this capitalist system thrives on making
Yeah.
you feel like you don't have it.
Excluded and
Yeah.
lonely. So now buy these shoes
So,
and she
yeah.
will come your way.
I think
or-
I think as you grow older and as you spend more and more time together, it's like birthdays. Like now I can't be as excited about birthdays
Yeah.
and even, anniversaries and things like that. Of course, like we
Yeah.
have our little, thing that we remind each other or like maybe share something, but it's personal. It's not
Yeah.
something that's,
that's been
necessarily-
dictated to,
yeah.
and you have to hit a certain date where everybody else is doing it, so you're doing it.
Yeah.
What are your guys' views on performance enhancing stuff? Whether it's lubes or it's something from like the Durex Elevate range with sprays and supplements, or even more, role playing kinkier stuff. Like, is it normal? Should it be normalized?
I'm a haldi and shilajit man only. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, whatever you want to use, man. Whatever gets your socks off.
Yeah, aphrodisiacs of whatever kind. I think that transparency is important. Like
Yeah.
the couple, like it's nice to know what your partner is doing,
Yeah.
and you vice versa. Like
Yeah.
it's good to share those things.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're like one night this person is just like suddenly like the Hulk, and you're like, what's going on? Who is this person? So transparency is important. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it
I
is
think-
normal.
And also, I
right?
think maybe at least the 90s kid version of it is having to go and ask for stuff at the shop. When you go to buy condoms at the chemist, how you have to pick like 6 other buffer items. You know what I mean? So like,
You can't just be going
भैया
for that.
मुझको एक cornflakes और एक इसबगोल और थोड़ा सा चीनी और एक मारी बिस्किट और एक Durex.
Well, this brings me to a little game that I want to play with you guys. It is called Never Have I Ever.
Okay.
And here is a little box, a tray full of rings.
Okay.
And when you have the answer, you get a ring.
I love how we're just calling them rings. That's
Yeah.
great.
We're just calling them rings. Yeah, like,
Yeah, guys, these are engagement rings.
They are really,
These
you
are
know,
all from the
you-
Coldplay concert.
You
where
wear,
a bunch of
you
people-
wear them together, like your finger and hers or his,
Yeah.
at the same time. All right. Never have I ever chosen watching something on TV over having sex?
Oh, yeah, I have.
Yeah, so you get a
Yeah.
ring. You have chosen watching TV over having sex. I think the woman is more likely to say like, honey, I'm just not right now, I suppose.
Forget the situation. Just reveal the programming because what a compliment. You know what I mean? Like,
What was the show?
What was the show? Like, you know.
But isn't it like quite normal? Like sometimes you just don't feel like having sex.
I think it's mostly for the woman.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm just so washed with gratitude when the opportunity arises.
All right. Never have I ever sent a thirst text to the wrong person.
Oh, yeah.
She's
I have.
winning.
I have. It was.
Oh, you do?
Oh,
Okay,
you do,
amazing. Please,
Like
can you
a-
elaborate?
Not like a sext. I've sent a sext to a plumber. So,
Oh, wow. That's quite.
I mean, that's straight out of a porn film.
yeah, so they had the same first name, and the plumber had like a girl's name, and so I sent it to.
And was he there to do your plumbing immediately?
Well, luckily, yeah, I mean, technically it is plumbing still, but no, he was.
Sir, मेरे को समझ में नहीं आया. ये क्या होता है?
Yeah, he didn't understand it, but yeah.
Okay.
I sent it to my boss because it was one of those like my boss was texting me about where had to get to, and at the same time my boyfriend was texting me, and just like because I was replying quickly, I was like, hey.
Was it a picture
Thankfully,
or the
there was
text?
no picture.
Thank God,
just
okay.
like, hey, look where I am. It was a picture of the scenery in front of me and something like
Sexual. And
I never understand how guys have the gumption to send dick pics, by the way. It's never.
Or like I mean, it's very dangerous. Yeah.
never have I ever quietly pushed my partner to the side because I got tired of cuddling.
Oh, 100%.
Tired of cuddling?
After like I think there's a little like unsaid rule that after a certain point like you cuddle for 5 minutes and then you both like sleep in whichever
then you get
way
your
you like.
space, yeah.
Like I have my space. Like
Yeah,
once
fair
I fell
enough.
asleep, once
Yeah.
I fall asleep.
I do the guy move, which is not push them to the side, which is they're here, and then you have to ever so slowly extract yourself from this thing. It's like a 9-minute process to get your arm that is asleep with pins and needles out from underneath their head. So you do that. And try and go to sleep on the 1/2 foot of the bed that is left for you.
This argument, who takes the space in the bed? It's like
Yeah.
I always wake up without a blanket, And I'm like, you took and he's like, no, but you were like, you took the whole bed.
Yeah.
Would you do 2 single beds? I know
People do, right?
People do in their old age. Like they do like same bedroom, 2 single beds, and they're like, it's the best decision we ever made. Wow. We both sleep well, and we're still in the same
it's also
room.
how far you take that. People also do separate rooms. People do separate flats.
Flats?
And still keep a relationship
I can understand
going.
the separate room thing, but the separate flat thing is a bit...
I feel like separate flat is a pretty slippery slope to separate spouse,
No,
separate
but I'm talking about
mistress,
in their
separate-
later years. Like
Even
much,
then, never have I ever played an injury card to let the other person do all the work.
No. But I can see why. It might be nice once in a while, but...
I've said I need a break, get on top. You know what I mean? Like that's fine, but not like injury or anything like that.
Never have I ever had a sex dream about someone else while in a relationship.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Of course.
right?
Yeah,
Of
it's
course, I
natural.
think
I
that's
think that's
normal.
natural.
Yeah.
So we'll both get it in use.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
You get one, you get one. What do you consider infidelity? Like, is fantasizing about somebody else while in a relationship considered infidelity to you? Let's say you've never done anything physical, but you fantasized. Are your thoughts also supposed to be loyal?
I think if it's somebody in your close proximity, or somebody
someone
you
you
know,
know.
maybe
So
there's a
saying-
conversation there.
There's
you
a
know?
conversation to have if
Yeah.
you're attracted to somebody. I think it really depends on the nature of each relationship.
Yeah.
What you guys want to do or what you guys don't want to do. So, for example, in my case, I don't like being lied to.
Yeah.
I want to know. But there's a point where I'm like, oh my God, this is making me really jealous.
Yeah.
So as long as you know that this isn't going anywhere romantic, don't tell me about it.
I'm kind of like you, but I always feel like it's natural and normal to find other people attractive.
Attractive is
Yeah,
fine. But
as
it's
long as
when
it gets romantic, as you say.
Yeah, it's when it's
That's when there's an
developing. Like,
issue.
how do you go from a close friendship to a romantic?
Yeah. Then
There's an escalation between looking at a beautiful person,
Finding them attractive.
And having
imagining
long
yourself having sex with that person, there's an escalation
Yeah,
there.
and also
you know
just
what I mean?
having long conversations
Yeah.
with that person. If you're having long conversations with someone that you're attracted to,
Then
that for me is more, even more than
That's
like,
dangerous, yeah.
thinking
It is.
about sex
Fair
with
enough.
them.
So
It's like if I am on the phone late at night talking to somebody and having a really good time, that's more than
Yeah.
just like me having a fantasy about sex with
Yeah.
that person. So yeah.
And it's about how the other person feels. Like, my wife is a breathtaking woman, right?
Yeah.
So I assume that when she walks out of the door, men will be attracted to her.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong in that.
And nothing wrong with that. And
Yeah.
but I know she knows how to handle herself.
Yeah.
You know, men have been attracted to her entire life. She's confident, she's secure. So to me, it's largely about how she feels about men being attracted to her. Rather than the
The
fact that
question
that's
was
going
more
to happen.
about, do you find that thinking sexual thoughts or fantasizing about someone other than a partner, is that
I think it depends on the
infidelity?
proximity of the person
Yeah,
to
it
you,
was
the
just that.
relationship you
Yeah.
have with them.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
dynamic between two people.
Yeah.
And it's just not one size fits all.
No, I don't think so.
Speaking of one size fits all, we have Pleasure Wall. Basically,
All right.
we have product that hopefully can turn your good sex life into a great sex life. And you can pick and choose what you want, and we can make a nice hamper for you at the end of it. Yeah?
Nice.
Super
Want to take a look at
duper.
it?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Come
Let's
on.
see it. So this is our Pleasure Wall. A little about the product. We have a game of cards here. And here, that's also a game. Oralicious is a third game that we have. Then we have some capsules for women, men, that's for performance enhancement, some sprays. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. Some lube. Kalki, why don't you go first and see
Thank you.
what interests you?
I think I'll go for Snap.
Oh,
I'll snap the snap. That
right.
looks like a fun
That
game.
sounds painful.
I hope not.
Snap the snap.
And then I will take one of these lubes because, you know,
Okay.
I'm over 40 and perimenopause hits. So we got to go for it.
What about you, Saw?
I'll take the handcuffs because
Yeah, why
many
not?
people tell me I'm going to get arrested anyway. So might as well have my wife do it instead of the authorities.
Oh, yeah.
And
Okay, that makes sense.
I'll do a card game.
Okay.
Just because we'll definitely play this, but I'd love to just take these cards and leave them in the cars of different people I know and their luggage so that their spouse can find it and be like, what is this? So I'll do this.
Remind me never to have you sit in my car.
There you go. So thank you. I will do the cards and
That's it?
the
Nothing
handcuffs.
else?
No, I think we're good.
Thank you for doing this with me. Thank you for coming over and having this discussion and being a little playful and fun and making it feel normal. I hope that people out there kind of get inspired to see sex as something that is natural and to be enjoyed and not something that you should be ashamed of. And I'm really glad I got to do this with you guys. And that's it for this episode, guys. Until next time, go break some beds. Metaphorically, of course. And please use protection. That is one of the most important tips to make sex great. Because no sex can be great if you're constantly worried about STDs, HIV, and, surprises. And lastly, if you liked the episode, subscribe to the channel for more updates and stay tuned for the next episode of the Durex Podcast. See you in the next one. Ciao.